Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We will begin our service with Shalom Aleichem on page 24 or 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, V'melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, V'melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, V'melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedechem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, V'melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat Shalom. It's good to be together tonight. I am, for those of you who don't know, I'm Rabbi Sarah Weissman, and I'm joined by the now famous cantor Jamie Schbal. You may have seen her on national television this week. We're so proud.
Thank you.
And we're also joined by Jacob Richter on piano. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to invite you to say hello to each other. And if you want to share your New Year's resolution, either the one you intend to keep or the one you intend to break immediately, please do. Me too. I like that. Let's welcome in Shabbat by lighting Shabbat candles. I'd like to invite up Judy and Deb Sack. Page 2 or 120.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We'll continue with Kiddush, our blessing over wine, on page 5 or 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon himchilanu zikaron l'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'veratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim. Turn now to page 20 or 138 for the words of L'cha Dodi. We welcome in Shabbat as if she were a beautiful bride. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. When we get to that 9th verse, we rise, turn towards the door, and welcome her in.
L'cha Dodi li'erat kala pnei Shabbat mekabela. L'cha Dodi li'erat kala pnei Shabbat Tiferet Bala. Gam besimcha u'b'tzola. Tov emunei am sekula.
We turn now to the words of Baruch Hu, page 28 or 146. We turn to page 32 or 150 as we sing these words of Ahavat Olam. They describe a never-ending love, a love that flows through words of Torah through each generation. Let's sing together. can be seated. I'd like to invite up Caleb Nash to lead us in words of Ve'ahavta. He's going to be celebrating his bar mitzvah next week. It's a good way to start off the new year. Ve'ahavta is on page 36 or 154.
B'chol avcha u'lashecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi metzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam V'shivtecha b'betecha uv'leftecha b'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinecha uv'tatam al mezuzot beitecha uv'rim sharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות להם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohim. Adonai Elohim. Amen. Thank you. We sing our song of redemption. The words of Michamocha are on page 40 or 158. יפד אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גל ישראל.
Turn the page as we sing these words of Hashkivenu. Let's read together first in the middle of page 43 or 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, v'hamidenu
On page 44 or 162, we sing the anthem of this day, reminding us of the obligation and also the gift of keeping Shabbat. And I believe we have an original composition, yes?
Yeah, this is,
Our
you
friend-
know, there's not enough compositions. There's not enough Vishamrus, like we have a couple. But this is kind of new. It's a couple years old, written by our pianist, Jacob Richter. So it has a nice melody. See if you could catch it, you could follow along with us. Here we go. La la la
Shkoach. I think music school is doing well for you. We enter now into the Amidah, our time for silent prayer. Are we going to do it silently or no? What do we decide?
We're going to do it out loud.
Out loud. We're going to start out loud, and then we'll continue in silence through the end of the Amidah. And you can feel free to pray the words on the page or take time for your own thoughts. And when you're finished with your prayers, you can be seated. So we turn to page 46 or 164. If you're able, please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Umido melach, melech memit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
We're in the middle of page 62 or 180. Our thoughts turn now to those who are in need of healing, healing of body or healing of spirit. We think of those who suffer from mental illness or addiction. All of these we hold in our hearts tonight. We are especially praying tonight for Liz Anderson, Yolanda Azucena, Miles Bennett, Efrat Blatt, Susan Carlson, Abigail Covert, Rudy Andrizi, David Gaskell, Marty Gelman, Selena Glader, Stephanie Glickman, Cindy Huppert, Moritz Huppert, Marvin Jones, Phyllis Carroll, Bernie Marcus, Edwin Merlos, Harold Muckamal, Sophia Palisban, Rabbi Lori Phillips, Peggy Pizzo, Stephen Avraham Simon, David Baruch Ben Simona, Matthew Smith, Katie Wilson, and Kate Van Zanten. If there's someone else that you're praying for tonight, please share their names with us. We turn to page 253 or 371 for the words of Misha Berach.
May the source of strength
All happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way, declares Leo Tolstoy in the opening words of Anna Karenina, a story about a seriously unhappy family. He seems to suggest that happy, functional families all share a certain set of characteristics that make for a harmonious dynamic, whereas unhappy or dysfunctional families can be so because of any number of deficiencies or troubles. This time of year, as relatives gather for vacations and holiday celebrations, many of us might wonder whether we are members of the unhappy families Tolstoy is describing. So it is with great wisdom that the compilers of the Torah made sure that we read the saga of Joseph and his dysfunctional family every November and December. If nothing else, the story might make us feel better about our own families. As you may recall, Joseph is Jacob's favorite son. His brothers resent him and decide to sell him into slavery and tell their father that a wild animal has killed him. Joseph, however, makes his way out of slavery, out of prison, and all the way up to Pharaoh's inner circle, where he becomes Pharaoh's right-hand man. When famine drives Joseph's brothers to seek food from Egypt, they end up petitioning Joseph, whom they do not recognize, for help. After a series of dramatic encounters between Joseph and his brothers, a few tests and tricks at his brother's expense, Joseph finally reveals his true identity in this week's parasha, declaring, "I am your brother Joseph, he whom you sold into Egypt." And then he does something remarkable. He forgives his brothers. He lets them off the hook before they even have a chance to make amends. He says, "Now do not be distressed or reproach yourselves because you sold me hither. It was to save life that God sent me ahead of you. God has sent me ahead of you to ensure your survival on earth and to save your lives in an extraordinary deliverance. So it was not you who sent me here, but God." Joseph, who would certainly be justified if he rejected his brothers or took revenge for their cruelty, instead offers absolution. He turns his own life story from one of victimhood into one of redemption. And not just redemption for Joseph, but redemption for his brothers. No wonder the brothers are struck dumb at this revelation. We might wonder why Joseph forgives his brothers so readily. Sure, Joseph has become wealthy and powerful, so perhaps he's just thinking the best revenge is success. Perhaps he feels that his brothers have suffered enough for their sins, given the famine they're enduring, plus the way he has toyed with them in the weeks leading up to this moment. Perhaps Joseph is convinced that his brothers have really changed. Or maybe Joseph is just plain tired. Tired of the hurt and anger, tired of the estrangement, tired of pretending. When he finally tells his brothers the truth, he bursts into tears, weeping so loudly that the Egyptians throughout the palace can hear him. Joseph continues to sob as he embraces and kisses his brothers, assuring them that all is forgiven and urging them to bring their father Jacob to him. As Shepha Gold puts it, Joseph steps out behind the mask of power, the mask of the false self, and weeps aloud. These are the tears of profound relief and of love unbound. Joseph has been carrying a heavy burden of hurt and trauma and anger for decades. When he reveals the truth to his brothers and says, "I hold no grudge," he finally sets his burden down. Later in the parsha, when Jacob arrives in Egypt and reunites with his long-lost son Joseph, there are more tears of relief. As Jacob says, "Now I can die, having seen for myself that you are still alive." He doesn't die right then, but settles in Egypt along with his family in safety and security. This unhappy family actually gets a happy ending. For those of us who've lived in households characterized by abuse, neglect, betrayal, or cruelty, we might not be able to expect a happy ending, or even desire reconciliation with those who have hurt us. But for the unhappy families who are less broken than Jacob's, the story of Joseph and his brothers might bring us some hope. We hope that like Joseph, we can forgive our siblings for resenting us or treating us badly. We hope to forgive our parents for their failings, for playing favorites or stoking division, for putting their own needs ahead of ours. And like Joseph, we can reframe our past to see the pain and hurt our family members have caused, but not let that pain define or confine us. Joseph says to his brothers later, "Although you intended me harm, God intended it for good." Rabbi Jonathan Sachs writes, "This single act of reframing allowed Joseph to live without a burning sense of anger and injustice. It enabled him to forgive his brothers and be reconciled with them. It transformed the negative energies of feelings about the past into focused attention to the future. We cannot change the past, but by changing the way we think about the past, we can change the future." One final thought about the hope that Joseph's story might give us. These brothers are estranged for decades, with no expectation that a reunion or reconciliation would ever take place. Whether by sheer luck or divine providence, they are brought back together for another chance to make things right. This opportunity was an unexpected gift to Joseph and his brothers. Joseph's act of grace was another gift to himself and his brothers, not to mention to the generations that would follow. So for those of us with difficult or broken relationships with our family members, we can still hope that repair is possible. If not now, then maybe one day. In this new year, may those who have happy families cherish them and never take them for granted. May those who have less than happy families find reconciliation and harmony. And may our Beth Am family find wholeness and happiness too. Shabbat Shalom. Happy New Year. We turn now to Aleinu L'Shabeach, page 282 or 586. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 287.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You can be seated. We prepare for the prayer of memory, page 290 or 594. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me. Your laugh once lifted me. Your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. As I say the name of your loved one, if you'd like to rise in their honor, please do. Then we'll all rise together to recite the Kaddish. This week we mourn the loss of Georgia Schwimmer, wife of John Bergman, aunt of Marcel Bergman and Cantor Spall, great-aunt of Ella and Sam, and Stanley Mantell, father of James, Douglas, and Andrew Mantell, 7 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. We're observing Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, for Dennis Weintraub, Marka Davis Hempel, Eleonora Schreberg-Pebsner, Chaya Bat-Wolf, Sarah Moreau, and Donald Schilling. And we remember those whose yahrzeit, whose anniversary of death, fell this week. Dawn Allen, Carrie B. Alper, Pauline Anderson, Seymour Banish, Mariam Berenberg, Andrew Beestock, Joseph Blayman, Sylvan Blumenson, Surik Boruchoff, Abrash Boruchoff, George Bragan, Albert Cohen, Eva Cohen, Tina Danzansky, Leonard Davidman, Ira Davison, Peter Doctorow, Samuel Drynoff, Cindy Farrar, Julius Freed, Neil Gandler, Beverly Ginsburg, Jenny Goldenberg, Tilly Green, Selma Gross, Bill Heeger, Russ Hickman, Margaret Jacobs Hirsch, Jean Jones, Morris Cameron, Ann Kaplan, Bert Korda, Maria Lauber, Seymour C. Lefton, Gerald Leibowitz, Rose Leibowitz, Max Linder, Sam Livingston, Egon Loebner, Barbara Macklin, Sylvia Weiss-Mermelstein, Leah Miller, Tilly Naftalin, H. Peter Oshman, Alan Packer, Brian Person, Alvin Platchen, Harry Polish, Francis Ann Ruda, Burton Bud Ruby, Marcy Rusoff, Anna Salop, Belle Samueli, Bessie Sarfati, Joseph Satin, Judith Schatz, Edgar Shane, David Sharon, Carol Schrago, Harry Sinclair, Lauren Sosniak, Beatrice Steinberger, Arlene Stern, Jean Wagner, Jeanette Wasserman, Zelda Wasserman, Naomi Weisbrod, Irving Weisler, Alvin Wilner, and Eugene Wharton. If there's someone else you're remembering tonight, please rise and share their names with us. Their memories are a blessing. We rise and turn to page 294 or 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirute v'amlich malchute, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha berichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Together we say, Amen. Just a quick announcement that we are still collecting for a couple more days for this month's Tzedakah recipient, Sunnyvale Community Services. It's an independent nonprofit emergency assistance agency to prevent homelessness and hunger in our local community. You can make a donation in person in the Tzedakah box in the foyer. You can donate on our website. You can donate on Venmo. Our handle is @Beth-Am. Please give generously before the year's out. Let's close our service with Adon Olam, page 321 or 625.
Oh, yeah. Right, so we're going to sing the first two and the last verses. This is a nice Hasidic melody by Aminadav Aloni. So we'll have one. Let's see. Adon Olam Asher Malach Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di-di-di-di Yerem Kol Yetzir Nira Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di-di-di Le'et Nasa V'chevtzo Kol Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di-di As I melech Shemo Nikra Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di Ve'acharei Kichvot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh Ve'hu Yeh V'tifara Adon Olam Asher Malach Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di-di-di-di Terem Kol Yetzir Nira Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di-di-di Le'et Nasa V'chevtzo Kol Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di-di Eisai Melech Shemo Nikra Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di Ve'hu echad ve'in sheni Lehamshilo le'achbira Beli Reshit Beli Tachlit Velo Oz ve'hamizra Adon Olam Asher Malach Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di-di-di-di B'terem Kol Yetzir Nira Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di-di-di Le'et Nasa V'chevtzo Kol Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di-di As I melech Shemo Nikra Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di Ve'yadov kid ruchi beiti sham ve'ayira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li ve'lo ira Adon Olam Asher Malach Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di-di-di Terem Kol Yetzir Nira Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di-di Le'et Nasa V'chevtzo Kol Hai-di-di-di-di-di-di As I melech Shemo Nikra
All right, if you are a student, grew up at Beth-Am, who's here visiting and making your families happy, I'd like to invite you to come up and so you can make all of us happy, so we can
I
see your
guess that
Shana
means you have to
Punams.
come up, so
And if
come
you
up.
are post-college but also visiting your family, if you grew up here at
You're a
Beth-Am,
student. Come on up.
come on up. You're still growing. Come on up. We want to see your faces, or at least this part of your faces. We'll let you play the outro after this. All right. Everyone ready? Come close, come close. Hold this. Remember how to do this? Yeah? All right. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Everyone, and happy secular New Year.
Happy New Year. Please have some challah. Jacob's going to play us out as soon as he finishes his challah. No pressure. You want some challah?
That was awesome.